All right. My dear fellow listeners and viewers, good evening once again, and welcome to another edition of the Dr. Narine Dat Show. For those of you who are tuning in to us for the very first time, keep in mind that there are a few different ways to listen to us. You can listen to us on the regular dial, that's the radio, 102.7 CKMS FM. You can listen to us on Rogers Digital Cable for those of you who have the Rogers Digital Box. And of course, we are also live streaming our interview here, so please take the opportunity to share our page as you see fit. The whole idea of the Dr. Narine Dat Show is to create a safe space for positive energy and mutual respect. And speaking of that, my guest this evening is Ken Rampersaud, who himself has a radio show, and obviously many people know who he is. We have had him on the show in the past, and we are honored to have him again this evening. I personally invited him on the show again because he has been doing so much, and I really want to understand, how does he do it? What's involved? What are some of the impact and all of that? And we'll take the opportunity to kind of hear from him. But before we do that, Ken, as you know, from time to time, we'll have new folks watching and listening and so forth. So why not take a minute or so just to kind of refresh folks who you are, basically reintroduce yourself back to us, and we will dive right into things.
All right. Well, Dr. Narine, a very good evening to you and to all your listeners. I want to say thank you very much for having me today. And when you tell me what you want to talk about, I said, fine, no problem. So for those who don't know me, or for the first time you're tuning in, I'm Ken Rampersaud from the Ken Rampersaud Show. Also, I had another show with Chit Chat with Radhika Ullarti. And so now we have one show for now. I am a nurse here in New York, been migrated about 30 something years, and I work mainly now with mental health and people addiction, people who do drugs, alcohol, etc. Also, I want to consider myself a humanitarian, someone who really cares about our community, someone who cares about where I came from. Despite I migrated from Ghana many, many years ago, I still have Ghana in my blood, and I still want to help the people in Ghana, especially my community. People ask sometimes, Narine, why you got to start with your backyard. Of course I do, and we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So listen, yeah, so thank you so much for that reintroduction. Obviously, many people know you as well too, but I just thought just in case.
Right.
And so, I mean, in my view of things,
Right.
it takes special people to do, certain things, right? And I mean, the bottom line is the work you do, it takes a lot of time, lots of effort. It is not a one-time thing. It is ongoing. You keep pushing, you add, you do more, you continuously, try your best based on the resources you have at hand, to try to close the gap to help the people them in Ghana. And as you mentioned, even though, you've migrated from Ghana a long time ago, you still have that connection and wanting to do whatever you can, which is, in my opinion, is such a beautiful thing. Let me take you back, from, earlier years though. You yourself obviously migrated here, you migrated to the States and whatnot. How long have you been doing these kinds of work? When I say these kinds of work, the humanitarian kind of work you just talk about, kind of giving back to the community, whether that be locally where you live or in Ghana directly.
That's a great question. And today, as I was thinking about myself, from a young boy growing up in Guyana, life was tough sometimes, and a lot of people were kind enough to help me and to guide me and so on. And so that was actually my upbringing. And so growing up in Ghana, I was always giving back, helping my neighbor buswood if they don't have a son. If they got wedding, call me, I go and help. And then when I became a nurse, I think that's when a lot of people, as a nurse in Ghana, people do respect nurses. And so I was well respected in my community where I'm from, Lenora. And so I find that a lot of people, despite I'm a male nurse, a lot of people used to come to me for help or for advice and so on. And sometimes I'm surprised some lady who not getting pregnant come to me and ask me these questions. So, people put me up there, and I try to maintain that goodness in me. But when I came to the United States, and when I started to work, which is about over 30 years, when I work in Harlem for most of my years, and when I look at people, how, like, in America, people don't have money to buy coffee, people don't have a bed to sleep on, or their families are not checking up on them, and they're there all by themselves. I would say to myself, wow, what can I do to help really? And as I told you before, that as a detox nurse, Narine, that I get a first hand look at the damages that drugs and alcohol did in our community.
Yeah.
And that's when I really decided that, you know what? I think as a nurse who get to look at all the problems and how alcohol and drugs have affected our family dynamics, let me see how I can assist. And from that, I started to do my radio show. But before that, you and I know that if you want to become a radio host, in my opinion, or you want to get the trust of people, you have to be that person of, you have to build your character, you have to build everything so that people will trust you. So I spent many years in the trenches digging to see what's there and how can I help and so on. And then in 2018, that's when I took a leap and just say, let me take a deep breath up here now. Let me see how I could really help our community. And that's when I started to collect Pampers and so on. And the truth of the matter is, I was giving people to send it to Guyana and so on. And then I said to myself, but I could manage to do all these things my own self. Let me take a dive and do it my own self. And that's when I started to do it. But I did not expect to come this far in doing so much for our beloved Guyana.
That's awesome. And so, based on what I've seen, based on what you shared, and whatnot, it looks like you collect specific items, or I guess I should ask you, do you collect specific item because you recognize that there's obviously there are lots of needs, but do you collect a specific item to close a specific gap?
Excuse me. Well, I do collect Pampers. I collect loose clothes. I collect wipes. I collect wheelchair, walker, crutches. That's my main squeeze, to be honest with you. I collect chucks also, because one of my goal, actually, as a nurse, I see the struggle people who involved in accident, those who get strokes and these things. So one of my goal actually in life is to make sure, and I want to add this too, that in Ghana, when you get strokes and you get into accident, is that people expect you to be lying in your bed all day, 24 hours a day. I want to change that narrative. I want people to know, despite you get a stroke, despite you getting an accident, that you could still go out there and live a productive life. When I say productive, that you could still see life and enjoy life. You can go in a wheelchair, your family can push you in a wheelchair, take you to the seawall, take you to functions, and so on, and you don't have to spend the rest of your life bedridden, if you know what I mean. So
Absolutely.
that's my goal, in to see that people in Ghana be able to go about their business as usual.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And obviously, you are closing a very much needed gap, right? And so none of us can do it all. And it looks like you recognize the need based on. I mean, you are in that profession, being a nurse, and so you've recognized the need, and so you're not ignoring that, right? So you're doing whatever you can. So my question to you, because I would know, we would know, people would know, and I think it would be nice if you can spend a few minutes to kind of share with us. You mentioned earlier that you collect, Pampers, and you collect wipes and all of these things. Where the heck do you collect them from? Or where you get them from anyway?
But Narine, I'll be honest with you. It started by me picking up things in the garbage. Like
Mhm.
I'll be driving from Harlem and
Mhm.
I will see someone throw a wheelchair in the garbage, or they'll throw some walker in the garbage. And even on my way home, and I said, wait, no, I could help somebody walk with a wheelchair, use a wheelchair with a walk or a cane or whatever it is. And that's really how it all started. I started collecting in the garbage, or I will go and peep in a dumpster at my job and see if they have anything that I could utilize. Sometimes I get clothes, sometimes I get dressings. Um, and now that I'm doing this, and Facebook has really helped me garner the kind of support that I really need. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of people see what I do, and a lot of people call me on a daily basis to get stuff from them. Whereas someone family member would pass away, and they don't, rather than them throw it in the garbage, they would call me to go pick it up. The only bad thing about this, sometimes I'm given very short notice. Like somebody said, listen, you have to come pick these things up now. And I'm like in bed,
Mhm.
tired after
Mhm.
working a full shift.
Yeah.
Or someone will call me and said, listen, you have until 10 o'clock tonight to come get these things. So sometimes you will see me. These are things that what people get to see, though, and I'm glad you asked me that
Mhm.
question. I'll thank God I have a Jeep, that a seven-seater vehicle that I would jump, and I'll take my boys with me sometimes, and I'll go in the Bronx and pack as much things as I could pack in my Jeep, and I'll bring it and store them up, and when I get money from donations and so on, I will ship them to Guyana. And of course, that people in Guyana now that like people will write me and say, "Listen, my husband need Pampers, or my husband need a wheelchair, or my husband is going to do a knee replacement. Can I have a walker? Can I have a wheelchair?" And that's how things have been going. And before I close off on this part of it, and so I really want to take this opportunity, um, Dr. Narine, that I have been a blessed man in the sense that a lot of people trust me and like what I'm doing. In a sense that people, when I ask people for money or I beg for donations, I most of the time I get it. And I get it, and because of people kindness, and I don't want to take credit alone for all of this. I want to give back some credit to some of the people who really give me these things, and all the people who donated towards my little project that I have. And we are making a big, and I said we, not I, we are making a big difference in Guyana, because the truth of the matter is, I am selling stuff to Barbados, East Coast, Wales, West Bank, Demerara, Puerto Rico on the West Coast, East Coast, Essequibo Coast. The only place that I really don't send things is in the interior. So I want people who donated to this cause to feel accomplished and to feel good, to know that their money and the things that they donate to me is going for a good cause in Guyana.
Right. That's great. That's good to know. How about the regardless of the amount of stuff you send, how about the distribution piece in Guyana? Because I mean that can be a little bit complicated too. Can I assume that you have people there that will, distribute and making sure, that these things are, distributed accordingly, kind of thing, if you know what I mean, going to the people who actually need it and so forth?
Yes, I am very blessed to have about six people. I have people in Canal. I have people in Barbados. I have people in East Coast, West Coast, in Georgetown. That really, I send things. They all go and collect the stuff. Like I send like individual barrel to some people. Then I send crate, like the container, the big box. So and then they take out pictures and show me. The truth is that I don't really post a lot of these pictures. People really don't get to see some of the work that you really get to do. And the other thing is that it's important to know that people to know, because sometimes people do things to just show what they do and whatever it is. I can say that a lot of people who give money and who give stuff, they really don't get to see where the stuff goes, nor do I get to meet the people who get these things, the recipient of all these things. And that's a good thing to know anyway. But of course, I would love to go, when I go to Guyana next time, I will try my very best to get to meet some of these people. So I'll get to assess the needs for myself. Because the truth of the matter is that, you know, there is, because I'm a nurse, it puts me in a good position where I would get to go and get to assess some of these clients, like people who wet the bed. Like, for example, they could use condoms that you put over the penis for men, and the urine goes straight into a urine bag that the clients don't have to lie in urine all night. So that's a great thing that I see. And also, I got a lot of chucks that's washable. So I would hope that each family would get 5 chucks, so they could rotate it, like use it and wash it back again. And for ladies, I get some underwear where you could put the pads at the crotch area that could pick up the urine. So, I'm so so proud of the things that we are doing here in New York for the folks in Guyana.
That's amazing. That's great. That's good to know, and thank you for so much for sharing that with us. So, what was your most recent project?
Oh Lord, for the past 2.5 months, we have sent 12 barrels of Pampers and clothes. Also, I sent a big crate with wheelchairs, with 9 walkers, cane that people could walk with. That alone cost me over $500 to ship to Guyana. Also, I said one e-container is in Guyana already, and then I have another e-container that's in my driveway. It was supposed to come out a long time ago, but the shipping company, the people who shipping it, every day they're telling me I'm coming tomorrow, and they never show up. So it's a challenging thing to do.
Yeah. So you don't have to talk about what I'm about to ask you next, but do know that this is a safe space, and if you're comfortable, feel free to respond to what I'm about to ask you.
Right.
As I understand it, there was a complaint in regards to how you operate in your backyard or whatever the case may be. Do you want to comment on that? I think it's important to kind of comment because you are trying to do something good. And then there you are, you have people who are, not seeing, things from your lens.
Dr. Ryan, that I was kind of disappointed and taken back when I received the complaint. Because the truth of the matter is that when I get that complaint, I was like, oh my God, who would do this to me? Because it is Pampers and wheelchair that I'm sending to Guyana. And of course, that when I get stuff, sometimes I pick them up at night and I would bring them and just put them in my driveway. And when I get time, I pack them up. And so I designate a part of my yard where I put these things. And the truth of the matter is that I keep these things, and when I get the amount of money to send these things to Ghana, then I send it. So, I am kind of taken back and disappointed at someone in our community, I would say, that would do that to me. And the truth of the matter is that they are not hurting me, that they are hurting the people, the poor people in Guyana. Because, Dr. Narine, that I could, as a nurse here in New York, I mean, I live comfortable. I have my wife, my children. I can move on, but you know what? They will not stop me. They will not deter me from doing the Lord's work. Put it, or I will continue no matter what. They may take me to the drawing board back again to do some things differently, but they will not stop me from being an eye out for the poor and the underserved. So if they're watching, I just want them to know there's nothing they could do to stop me, because
I love it.
I am doing Lord's work. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love it. No, absolutely. You continue. I do know that these things It's normal. Normal in the sense that people will do all kinds of different things, but you have to keep pushing and move forward and stay focused. And it looks like you are doing that, which is awesome. I have to share you a very quick story though. I used to have a rental property, over a decade ago, and so so we had like pumpkin tree at the back in the backyard, really big pumpkin, and so the vine kind of went to the neighbor's yard, and so the pumpkin was like this big and the neighbor just chop it off and take it and throw it back in the
Oh,
yard. I cannot believe it, right? So it goes to show that people, people, you have all kind of different people, but we live and we learn, right? For
yeah,
sure. But thank you for sharing that with us. I just thought I'd share that with you and the people who are listening and watching. So,
yeah.
my dear fellow listeners of yours, for those of you who have just tuned in or so, or if you happen to, tune into us for the very first time, keep in mind that you're watching and listening to Dr. Narine Dat Show. And joining us this evening is Ken Rampersaud, a very active, community-minded individual. He's a nurse as well. He's been in the profession for many, many years. He has a passion for what he does. Um, there are a few different ways to listen to us here. You can listen to us on the regular dial, that's the radio, 102.7 CKMS FM. You can listen to us on Rogers digital cable for those of you who have the Rogers digital box. And of course, we are live streaming our interview here, so we encourage you to share it as you see fit. So, is there anything else you would like to add in terms of what you do? Meaning that, do you have any upcoming project, or let's say people want to reach out to you, to kind of maybe offer you support to even grow this project, right? There's nothing wrong with that, or at least maintain it. Anything you like to share with the people in terms
I
of
appreciate that.
contact and so forth?
Absolutely. But I want to say I am reading Leon Susaran's comment, and Leon, if you still there, I want to say thank you very much for your beautiful comment, and it really means a lot. I know that you too does a lot in our community. So, and I want to say one thing that Leon is there. I think that Leon, to be honest, is doing a fantastic job in our community, and so sometimes people put us like we are in competition. There is no competition between me and Leon. I love that guy for all the things that he does. Now, with your question again, can you just repeat one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. That's all right. Thank you, by the way, for taking the time to
Yeah.
acknowledge the great work that Leon does. I mean, Leon has branded himself. There's only one Leon, by the way, and so he has branded, himself well, and he has made a name for himself. And so thank you for taking the time to acknowledge that. I like stuff like that. I think that's important. What I was asking you though, um, I mean, I think in my view of things, you're doing great work. So I was asking you, how is it that people can reach out to you in terms of, support? So let's say people are watching, for the first time, or people, somehow want to assist you in some shape or form. How is it that they can get a hold of you? Or
Well,
what's the best way?
you know what? I'm all over Facebook. People want to know, but
Mm,
of course, the more financial help I get is the more that I could do, because right now I have a lot of stuff that I need to ship to Guyana. So if you're watching, please, ladies and gentlemen, you can always you can make a financial donation towards me, and you can sell at 917-767-2248. Again, and your money is going to go into a meaningful way in helping people. So, I collect stuff. I get a lot of stuff. And the only hardest thing is to get the money to ship these stuff, because sometimes I send 5 barrels the other day, and they're like $185 each to send a barrel, plus $37-40 for a barrel. The paper one and the plastic one is $55 or $53. It all depends where you buy. So
for sure.
don't forget, if you want to donate to me, just hop on Facebook and you will see Ken Rampersaud or Hiram Rampersaud. Or you could even get on to Dr. Narine Dat, and definitely your help would go a far way.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. So, you've done well in terms of at least give us a better understanding, right? We all now have a better understanding, in terms of your passion, in doing what you do. But the best advice I give you that I can give you is to continue what you're doing. It is very much needed. You will notice it does not matter how developed a country is or how developing they are in that sense. There will always be people who get the short end of the stick, and there will always be a need for these things. Even though we live in modernized countries like Canada is very modernized, we have good service, good healthcare, and so forth. You will always find areas, where people need help and so forth, and it's people like you, that really make the difference. So continue that. That's a beautiful thing. And at the end of the day, I know that you get some sort of satisfaction. That's why you're doing it. You feel good about it, right? Because once people understand it, the more you give, and so forth, like there's a different kind of feel to it, right? And I can almost, feel your excitement when you give. That's the kind of person you are, which is a beautiful thing. Having said that, I think that for me, when people start to do good things and so forth, it is not uncommon for people to be recognized. And people are not doing these things for any sort of recognition or anything, but these things does happen because people have different ways to show their appreciation and all of these types of things. You've received different awards for different things and so forth. You have an upcoming award, I believe, in a few weeks. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I was I'm surprised, but I was elated to know that the Gynecultural Association will be honoring me and about 4 or 5 other people in right here in Queens on the 27th, which is a Wednesday, right here in Queens, and they will honor me for the work that I do in our community, which is a great thing. And I have to tell you, you're a guy who received awards too, and I did receive a lot of awards in my nursing field for the work that I did in nursing. But and you know that it's a good thing when you can honor people
Of course.
for the work that they do. I'm at the stage when I left the hospital, I have told myself that you know what, I don't need any more awards. I've got enough awards in life, and then I see you get 200 awards, which over 200 awards is a great thing. And I also believe that, Dr. Narine, that it's a great thing to recognize people's work. I believe in my heart, it's like a fuel in a car and a gas in a car to keep going, to keep people motivated. And so it's a great thing. I can't wait to wait for that day to come to receive that award. It's gonna be a nice thing to give me a boost to know that someone is recognizing or someone is watching what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's a great thing.
Absolutely, for sure. No, that's great.
And I
Yeah.
also,
Mhm.
you were the recipient of that award about 2 years ago too.
And it's interesting that we're talking about that award because I was the recipient of it, but you were the one who picked it up on my behalf. And to show the people, because you yourself are probably not going to see clearly, but you yourself will kind of hold one and with your name it kind of thing. So thank you for doing this for me,
Yes.
by the way, which is awesome. That's really, really good there. Yes,
Right.
I mean, you brought up a good point. Obviously, we are aware that yourself and all the people who are doing good things out there, they're serving their purpose. You mentioned that earlier, right? But I honestly don't see anything wrong in recognizing people for the work they do, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, you will find that certain things is a standard, like here in Canada, the government and so forth, they have their standard in making sure that these things are getting done. They're getting done accordingly, all these types of things. So I hope that you take the time for you on that day
Yeah.
to to embrace the moment, enjoy that moment,
Mhm.
because it is a beautiful thing, right? I hope that that day you wouldn't be picking up used clothing and Pampers and so forth. So that day you're not available, right? I want to make sure. So if anybody calls you and say, "Hey, Ken, you have to pick this thing up, before 2 o'clock, and you're looking at the time and say, "Hey, I can probably do this." Don't do it. Enjoy that day, embrace that moment. Let it be a reminder of you serving your purpose because that's what you're doing, and so forth. So that's gonna be my advice to you there for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Dr. Narine, that one of the things I learned too is to, I do run around a lot, but also I practice mindfulness a lot of times.
Good.
Do take time, like you will see me all over the place. I do take time to make sure that my family is intact to make sure that you see my dog. We have
Yeah.
a dog in the house. I make sure that I spend my time in a rounded way so everybody's happy, even the dog. You know,
Mhm.
and it's important too because there are times, yes, that I feel tired and whatever it is, but I want to say thank God for His love and the strength that He gave me to keep moving on, to do these kind of things. You know.
Absolutely, for sure. And so, Ken, I think as much as you and I, we try to stay focused on the positive side of things, I think we also want to acknowledge that there are challenges when it comes to doing the kind of work you do. And I think you've shared some of that in different ways, meaning that
Yes.
the example that you gave, you mentioned that sometimes people call you and they give you a very short window to, pick up the items and so forth. And that is a challenge. And I mean, and like I said, it can be costly depending, to kind of ship it to Guyana and all of these kinds of things. What would you say are some other challenges that you have faced over the years, despite the fact that I'm aware that you have a good way to kind of making sure that it doesn't become a barrier for you per se. But what are some other challenges you face doing something from the heart, but yet there are lots of different challenges in between?
Good question. But I see we got Harry there. George is watching. John from Queens. Let us. I don't want him to feel that we don't see them there. So Anita Dowlett is watching. Thank you guys. So sometimes it could be very challenging in a sense that I don't get enough. I don't have enough money to ship these things to Guyana. And right now I'm thinking of doing a fundraiser probably within the next week so that I could get some money. But my I people sometimes say negative things. And the truth of the matter is, though, that I'm glad that you asked that question. Yes, people say negative things, but Dr. Narine, that you're a smart guy, you know things. I know my worth and I know my value, and I know the kind of work that I do. I am not saying that things would not bother me a little bit, but at the same time, I would not let that get into the way of the goodness that I try to do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That would not happen. It would not. Even if I fall, I'll brush up and keep it moving, because at the end of the day, what I have one goal inside of me, and I'm glad that I could see that way, is that I am making someone who is poor or who
Yeah.
cannot afford to buy something. I am making them happy. I cannot look at the people and the naysayers them to give them the satisfaction of putting a barrier in front of me. It's not going to happen. Um, so I am so glad that over the years I've learned, and I've learned, I consulted with you too when things bother me. And I thank you very much for being one of my lifeline, that when things bother me professionally, that I could reach out to you too and get your perspectives on things. That we all do need that. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I am so grateful that I have the understanding of what this is all about and what the goal is. So I cannot allow anyone to get into the sideline of things, you know?
Awesome. Excellent, for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for this, by the way. You had mentioned earlier that people will reach out to you, and maybe ask for things or make suggestion in terms of the things that they need. What are some of the suggestions or items people are requesting or have been requesting over the years?
Well, you know what? People request a lot of Pampers. They
Hmm.
request wipes. They want wheelchairs. They want walker. Like today, someone want a walker, and then somebody else write and said they need a wheelchair. So these are the top things that people are requesting. People actually use clothes and so on, but the truth of the matter is that's not like people don't ask for that a lot.
Hmm.
But the Pampers, people are asking for that. So um, that's it. Sometimes people ask me for money,
Hmm.
and it's hard sometimes, but I do try to. When I started myself and Rudika, we help a lady finish her house in Grove area. So that's a good thing. I was happy that we were able to do that. Like if someone is going through a hard time and they need some food or something, I would send some money and so on for these people. But these are the things that I really go put out there.
Hmm.
Uh, some things I don't think that not everything that I do I'll put on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Of course, of course. Oh, for sure.
Um, the truth of the matter is that I get my support from by putting up stuff on Facebook. Like for example, Rihanna Fashion. Like one day she see me put stuff that I need some. I just bought these things from the Two Barrels, and she went into my box and sent me some money, which is a good thing. So that's how I get my money. You know. So when you see me post, is that like I'm like out there asking, can you guys send me something? And I'm not showing, I don't want people to say that, what, he's doing this and that, but I just want people to know is that these things are just going for the people in Guyana.
For sure. So it goes to show that we can use social media, for the right reasons, eh?
Yes, positively.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you are. So that is awesome for sure. Because at the end of the day, social media, it's a beautiful thing. We live in a digital world, but
Right.
how we use it, right, is what really matters. So I'm glad that you are staying in line to make sure that you don't really get carried away because as you know, we all have seen like all kind of different things on there. And sometimes I personally for me kind of question myself, but at the end of the day, we don't have control over what people do and all of these types of things, right? We can only do so much for sure. And and that's one of the reason with the rebranding of my show with the Dr. Narine Dat Show, I realized that obviously, there was a gap as well too. And so that's one of the reasons we will try our very best based on the knowledge that we have to stay positive as much as we can. Bring people like yourself on where we talk about good work that you're doing rather than worrying about who, about who cheated with who and all these types of things, you know what I mean? So I appreciate you. I guess that's what I'm trying to say in a different way. Um, and so as you would know, I do my stuff as well too. So I leave for me, I like to understand and know of the impact of the work that I do. And so my question to you, like, have you heard like any kind of stories? Do people reach out to you and say, my goodness, the pumpers that we receive really, help us, and it, and it was so meaningful to us. Like, do you receive those types of things where you get some sort of satisfaction because at the end of the day you want to make sure that the work you're doing is making a difference too, right? So share that with us. I think that those pieces are important.
The truth of the matter is that I do get sometimes people would write me and say those nice words that I'm so glad that you are doing these things to help the people in Guyana, and I'm glad you didn't forget people. And one of the things that people always say to me that makes me feel good, they say, and I know Farouk is watching. Thanks, Farouk. Always supportive. Farouk will tell me, and even other people will say that I'm humble. And that really means a lot. I get that most of the time that I'm humble, that I help a lot of people. And the truth is, sometimes I tear up when I get a nice message from someone that wrote something nice. It really, it's a good thing. And like I said before, I see people getting my stuff, but sometimes, in my opinion, it is nice to know where your stuff is going and who's getting it. But what really matters to me at this moment is that people are getting it and they appreciate it. You know, sometimes I would get pictures with people with their face down,
Mm-hmm,
their face who get the stuff, which is okay. And I had received a couple of years back, I fed a couple of children in Corrigan, Berbice, and they all, I didn't share that on Facebook. We had a bunch of children who I fed, and they all start to say nice things. And Uncle Kenneth, thank you so much for helping. Thank you for the meal. And they all started to sing and these kind of things. So yes, it's I do get these kind of things, and I do save them sometimes, but they get lost between my 50,000 pictures,
yeah.
if you know. But people do, and it's kind of surprising too. When like everywhere I go, somebody would know me, or they would say, "Oh, you are the guy that gives stuff, sends stuff to Guyana," or someone would call me and said, "Ken, thank you for doing what you're doing for Guyana." You know, but I would love to see, not on my behalf, but there's so many people is doing stuff for Guyana, and I really wanted to say this a long time ago. Even people like Terry Gajraj, we have some, because I give people award. I recognize people. You do too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would love to see the day when Guyana would recognize people in North America, in the diaspora, for the things that they do for Guyana. Because a lot of times it's like they know or they don't know what you're doing. It'd be nice for them to show some kind of appreciation. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Right.
Yeah.
I do. I know exactly what you mean. And these things, I mean, we can do a whole show on that. It will be really, really nice. I mean, they have tried it here in Canada. We live here in Ontario. They've kind of tried it, um, but it can be tricky, at times and from time to time and so forth. Or sometimes it is, it's easy to start something, but to kind of maintaining it and make it sustainable and so forth is kind of different. And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I started this Activision award thing 2 decades ago, by the way. So I want folks to know this clear that it's not something we started recently. And
Right.
the reason why we call it Activision Award, because in my view of things, that if people are active and they're doing things, you are a perfect example. It
Yeah.
should not matter if they're, who they are, because I personally honor people from different parts of the, elsewhere, not necessarily, in Guyana and so forth. I mean, you were at our little thing that we did as well too.
Right. Right.
And at the end of it all, and honestly, this is true story. I did at the end of the presentation of the award, I did not realize that we did not have one Guyanese person, because the way we did it based on, the efforts of people, and so we did not try to have any bias and so forth. And
Right.
speaking of that, we want you to know, when you were in the show last time, we did say that we are going to present you with the Activision Award, and I want you to know that I'm holding it here, right? It's here, and so we will find a way. There's so many different ways for us to do it. We could have easily mailed this to you, but and so forth. But I'm thinking, let's hang on to this, and maybe let's see if there will be an opportunity where we can actually do it like in person somehow. But I
Uh,
want you to know this is coming. Do know that.
Thank you so much. Do me a favor, just send me the date. I will try my best to see if I will just make a spin over there in Canada. If I could come and pick up the award myself, that would be a great thing. I like these kind of things. So hold on to it. Let me see. If not, my sister lives in Toronto and she can come pick it up on my behalf because she does help me out on my show.
Oh yes, for sure. No, and I mean, and we can, and I work in Toronto, by the way, just so you know, so I can even give it to her that way, so it's not an issue. But I just want you to know that this is for you. But we also were thinking, how can we do it in a meaningful way?
Okay.
But anyway, so that's coming, so nothing has changed. And even to the people who, we have kind of reached out to, the people we've had on the show, like John from Queens and so forth, and other folks who have mentioned those. So don't get disappointed that you have not received it as of yet. Like these things, we are very mindful how we do it and so forth, right? So, and I know it can seems as if it's a long time, but patience is virtue, they say, kid. Which I don't necessarily have, but I mean, I think sometimes we have to think well, because this war does not require any like or share business or anything of that sort. It really, when people receive it, it really us looking for top to bottom of people's quality of work, and does it, is it an actual fit, right? And
Right.
so do know that I know we've kind of mentioned it when you were here last time, but I want to assure you that this
Yeah.
is like nothing has changed here, kind of thing. So that's awesome.
Thank-
And yeah, and so do you make trips to Guyana like every now and then, kind of thing? And when you do make these trips, like what's usually your main intention or purpose, or of kind of wanting to make sure that you're present there?
Well, strangely that when I go to Ghana now, I always go now to do some kind of work. In 2018, I went and I had a debating competition with the student nurses
Mm-hmm.
in Ghana on, I think it was suicide prevention or domestic violence. One of the two. I always keep forgetting. And so that was a great debating. Unfortunately, I don't have the copy of a tape now, or else I would just play it all the time. I also donated to the Guyana Nurses Association, which I think was $1,000 US. Me and my some friends, my donors, we have donated some table and chairs to the School of Nursing in Guyana in 2018, and also I sent three higher lift for the hospitals that could lift heavy patients.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which they don't have. So that's a good thing. It's had a warm there for months now. I have to find a way to get it and send it to the hospital. But yes, now when I go to Guyana, I just want to go to do work in terms of helping people. That's basically it. Get to meet some of the people who I keep helping. So that's basically it. Now it's not. I get a sense of. I feel a sense of goodness when you do these kind of things.
Absolutely. Gives you, more energy, as you kind of mentioned. It feels good for sure, right?
Get to meet
And
them.
absolutely. So when you were on this show, either on my show or can't remember clearly, or maybe I was on your show, so to speak, you had mentioned something about you have a few more years to kind of retire and stuff of that sort. What plans do you have when you kind of wrap up things? You wrap up your professional career that you've been doing for a long time. What is it that you hope to do when that time comes?
Wow, good question. You know, since I was diagnosed with COVID in 2019, when it first came out, I was out of commission for 6 months, and so I promised myself that whatever life left inside of me, I will try my very best to make a difference in the in the world that I live in. And so I think I want to continue being a radio talk show host. And also, want to continue being an eye out, an active person to help the poor, the underserved in Guyana. And let me add that as we're talking, I do not only help in Guyana, I help people right here in Queens community. People who have to buy Pampers, I don't let them buy, I give it to them. Things like chalk, wheelchair. I serve this community too, right here in Queens. Of course, I don't put all these things on Facebook. You don't see these things on Facebook. But yes, I do help in right here in Queens. But whatever it is, Narine, I will have a great time because I believe in active love. I believe in living a purposeful life. So whatever it is, I will do well.
No, and thank you, by the way. Thank you, by the way. I didn't mean to put you in the spot there. And I like your response to this because at the end of the day, it is your life, and it's nice when people have a vision. Very recently, I did a training along this line, and I mean, the fact that you are thinking for the future still,
Right.
that's such a beautiful thing because if people don't think, think ahead, that is a huge problem, yeah? Because people will wake up in the morning and life can be tough, right, and hard in different ways because they're not living for a purpose per se, but
Yeah.
having those kinds of vision for your own individual self, it is basically the right thing to do. So that is a good thing for sure. That's awesome kind of thing for sure. So question for you, when you're not, collecting stuff, before noon tomorrow and all these types of things, and when you're not working all these long hours, because nurses, I have lots of respect for them, by the way, because they do work long hours and the kind of thing they see and all these types of thing, mentally can be hard. And so it's nice when people can kind of, put everything at the side and kind of, do some self-care, which I was happy to hear as you were introducing yourself or as you were speaking. But
Right.
aside from all of that, what is it that you do, like for you, just for Ken, where you're saying, look, I'm a nurse and every day looks different, and so forth. What is it you do for you? Just for you and nobody else.
That's a good question. Let me be very honest with you.
Mhm.
Wow, how do I answer this question? One thing that I do, like for example, I got sometimes I really don't think about myself. I think
Mm,
about other people. I think
yeah.
about the people who I can help and do because you look, the summer is going to finish soon, and all I've been doing is selling stuff to Guyana,
Mm,
pick up stuff and so on. But I do spend time in my yard. I like to garden. I like
mm,
to do fancy stuff in the yard.
yeah.
I like to do that thing to make stuff. Also, I like birds, and so that's one
Mm-hmm.
of my big hobby. Um, Also, what I want to do for myself for this year is that I had want to come to Canada, but I changed my mind. But after I feel so drained and tired. So and I have my vacation time. What I plan to do, you know that I started my book and it's supposed to finish a long time. And so I'm planning to come to Canada sometime next week or the following week. So when I'm driving, that gives me a time to look back and reminisce about life and where I'm heading and what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah. So if you're coming, keep me in the loop. We can do this because I always believe that for me, anyways, my philosophy is that whatever I have to do tomorrow,
Yes.
I do it today, and whatever I have to do today, do it now. So we don't
Right.
have to wait for a specific time for this, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
just so you know that, just in case that's it.
I'll come. If I come, I'll let my sister, she'll bring me around. So
Yeah, yeah.
don't worry. I'll let you know what's the
Keep
plan.
me in the loop for sure. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
But the truth of the matter is sometimes I believe that sometimes we have to put other people ahead of us. And it all depends on the circumstances. But I do rest. I want people to know they say I work a lot. Yes, I do. But I do take time to rest sometimes. And of course, um, another thing that I add addition to the dog is in our house now. So I spend a lot of time with her. I cook for her. I feed her. And so she's a big part in our life now. She's like my grandchild, if you know what I mean. So I spend a lot of time with her. She's not here with me because you would have seen her and the thing. But what a great addition to our family, you know?
That's awesome. So, I mean, you are doing it. So, you are taking time for you. So, I mean, the gardening is a big deal. It's a big thing,
Yeah,
right? And so, you're spending time. I'm aware that you do a lot of stuff in your backyard and so forth. And that's what I was getting at. That's
yeah,
right. So,
yes,
you want to continue those things because it's important. I can never understand when people are saying to me, they're bored. That's the
yeah,
problem. How can people be bored? But again, who are we to judge people, right? And
right.
so engaging yourself with everything you explain there, like you are on the right track. That's awesome. So keep that going. Um, I want to be mindful and respectful of your time and whatnot. When I finish here with this interview, I will be going for a ride. I bought myself a brand new bicycle. I've never been happy like this in a long time, despite the fact that I'm deciding what color car to drive to go to work. It's amazing how the little things in life could be so important, you know. I do the riding, and when I'm done, I go for a walk, and then the family and the girls, we all go together, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, so what I was gonna say to you here, I want to be respectful of your time and so forth. But I'm gonna give you the opportunity to share any last minute thing you want to share, but do know I appreciate you and I encourage you to continue the great work you do. I think this is awesome. For me, anyways, there's no coincidence you're doing the things that you're doing, right? You came for that purpose and you want to continue to serve that, right? That's awesome. This floor is all yours. Take it away, any last minute thing, and then we will wrap it up.
All right, that I want to say, this show was only planned today and planned some hours ago. So and I wanted to say thank you very for bringing me on today. But more importantly, too, I want to say thank you very much for the respect you have for me. You're always supporting me in everything that I do. So thank you very much, and I appreciate it. I want to say thanks to all the people who watch my show, who does support me in every single way. Thank you guys a million. Those who give me money, those who give me pampers, those who are making a big difference in our community. Thanks to my sister who's watching, Miss Anita Ishdaulat Ram. She's part of my show. Thank you to her too. Who else do I? I thanks to my wife and my kids for helping me out too. I want them to go at the day of the award to see because we are all part and parcel of it, and so I want them to see that Daddy will be acknowledged for the work that he does. Because sometimes I ask them to help me, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and so yes, I will continue to do the good work that I'm doing, and I know my worth, I know my value, so I am not worried. God got my back.
I
Um,
love it. Yeah.
yeah, and thanks to Sabo too. Sabo Bodram is watching. Thank you very much, Sabo, for your love and your support. Harry, thank you very much. And so John from Queens, thank you very much, John. Leon again, thank you. So, Sukdeo, Tejnath Sukdeo, thank you very much. And everybody who watched the show
And
today.
yes, and people will be watching later on after the show too. I want you to know that it is a nice summertime here, and people are kind of
Right.
doing their walk and the riding as we talk about and so forth and whatnot. That's so. But I really am glad that you took the time to acknowledge people. I think that's always a beautiful thing. Something we need to do more of, right? Because it's a good thing, right? So it's not a bad thing. I like the fact that your family, I believe you mentioned, if I heard it correctly,
Yeah.
they will be joining you at that event. I think that's such a beautiful thing. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I want them to see, to get the
Yeah,
experience.
get the experience. I like it. Get the yeah, definitely for sure. Get the experience. I took my daughter for one of those events and so forth. And then she got me, she took me shopping afterward. So I said to my wife, I'm not sure that was a good idea or not.
That's
Yeah, but and no, she took me so that I can do shopping for her is what I meant, But anyway.
all right.
Yeah, but listen, such of a pleasure, but I want to be mindful and respectful that you kind of thing. Obviously, this was a last minute thing, but as I was saying to you that I always believe that things, and there's a reason things happen, everything, there's certain things in life we just cannot change. And
Yeah.
as you know me and you know how we do it, the show must go on, right? And so I appreciate that. I appreciate it so much. Yeah. All right. So, my dear fellow listeners and viewers, as we are officially approaching the end of tonight's program, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Dr. Narine Dat Show. I really would like to thank, Ken Rampersaud for joining me. Until next time, both of us would like to join together and wish you a great today and even better tomorrow. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, brother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.